Alright guys, it's like Wednesday night. It's Wednesday night after work. Our concrete has been sitting for 7 days. I'm pulling forms. I called them and asked them when I can pull these. They said whenever, and that was like 4 days in, so I don't know. I've always heard 7 to 28 days. It looks good, man. It's super solid. I really like it. So hopefully my grass starts growing in here a little bit better. It's a little rough right here, but hopefully someday it'll grow up right next to concrete. I got that one pulled off. I'm working on pulling the rest of these off. You know, when I put those forms up, I had like 2 different sets of screws, so we're pulling them off. It's happening tonight. Wood's coming down finally. I checked last Friday, and 2x4 when COVID hit was like over $6. We're getting closer to 4. Prior to COVID, it was like $267 in Helena. So the prices are coming down. I'm not saying it's great, but it's better. So we're pulling these forms off. We're gonna see what this looks like, and hopefully my grass grows up to this thing. I got a few spots that I don't know, hopefully, like I said, this grass was given to us. It's just some scab stuff that my parents ripped out of their house, and I was like, it's better than what we got. So I gotta clean up all my dog's garbage. He likes to chew on stuff. What are you chewing on now, Onyx? Yeah, chewing on a stick, aren't you? I wish I could make you clean this up. But yeah, that was my temporary gate thing that I built out of pallets. Again, scrap stuff I had laying around, some stuff my dad gave me. So I'm gonna pull that back apart. I'll use it for something else one of these days. But yeah, we're gonna get this pulled off, and then you guys will start seeing videos of me building this. I thought I was gonna get some plexiglass roof for free. It was like some COVID stuff that the school had bought and they were giving away. I thought it was 4x8 sheets. It's a buddy of a buddy that we race with. He was kind of dishing it out. By the time I got to him, it was already gone, and it wasn't 4x8 sheets. It was a lot smaller, but you might see some of that in the future on some of our videos, because my one buddy that helps me all the time with everything, he's got a bunch of like little screens that they had. It's like a little metal bar that goes like that, some plexi. He got a bunch of those, and we're trying to figure out something to do with them. I got a lot of ideas that I can carve on my router. I just wanted this whole piece to be all plexiglass here, so the light could still come through and get to our egress window in the corner there. But it's looking pretty good, man. I'm pretty excited about putting these, because we got window here, 2 windows on the side, and these are all going to be walls. It'll be cool. I'll show you guys as I get there. All right guys, I got my holder done for my cylinder for all my welding stuff. Turned out pretty cool. I think you guys probably saw it on the last video. I got my coats and stuff hung up on there. Pretty cool for just scrap I had left laying around. So I called my trailer guy. He didn't, or I texted him. He didn't get back to me. Looks like I've never met this guy before. I'm not sure. He must have got my number off of Facebook, or he actually messaged me, so it must have been Facebook or my website. But he does live here in Helena. It looks like he's a younger guy. I kind of looked him up on Facebook to see who he was. I texted him. He didn't get back to me today, so he's either busy or I don't know. We're moving on to something else. So I'm moving on to Tad's housings here. I'm going to make all the templates to plate this thing back in. I did want to show you guys these. These are freaking awesome scissors. If you guys are looking for good scissors, hopefully you can. We'll put a link in the description too. They are freaking awesome though. They have a sharpener right there in them. But these scissors, I love them. They got, I think they're like a 7-in-1. This is like a bottle opener. It's got wire strippers back here in the back of the handle, back in here, this spot here and there. Got a spot to cut rope. These will cut wire. They're pretty awesome. They come apart, so you can actually use them like a knife too. These scissors, I've had these for a long time. Company I was working for actually bought them for me. I don't know if they bought them for me, but they ended up in my toolbox when the company sold out, and so they're kind of mine now. But yeah, they're freaking awesome. They'll cut through just about anything. We'll put a link in the description. I found them on Amazon. So we'll put that link in there so you guys can see them. If you're looking for a good pair of scissors, these are freaking really good. I've seen, if you're looking to cut like really heavy stuff, these aren't really, you're gonna have to go to a snip, but for cutting this like kind of cardboard, I mean, it goes right through this stuff like it's nothing. And this is, you know, I mean, it's not super thick cardboard, but I mean, it cuts really good. And with this little radius right here, I think they call this part a rope cutter. It's awesome for doing radiuses. It works very well because it's actually rounded. So check those out on Amazon, you guys. They're pretty cool. But I'm gonna get to this. I'm gonna start making these templates. So when I order the metal, I can just throw my templates down, plow them out, clean them up, and get this thing done for him. I'll start making my templates. I'm gonna have to put some tubes through here somewhere. Probably on these two, I'm guessing. I'm gonna have tubes coming up, right? I think oh, that's good on the scissors. I think I showed you guys that in previous video, but I think at least this one hole, so I can get a bolt in it. I'm gonna put a piece of tube there because this plate's gonna come all the way across to here. I haven't decided if I'm gonna do that one or not. I might do these two, and then it'll be plated from there all the way up to here. We'll see when I start putting this together where the plates kind of land and radiuses and blah blah blah. We'll see how it goes. There's going to be some kind of weird angles in this area if I go all the way to this one. So I'll get back to you guys. Oh, this one too. So this one, I'm going to do this plate right here. I'm going to cut out my template for here. This one will be pretty easy. This one's going to take some work because, like I said, I got to plate all this. I'm going to put a triangle here, triangle here. Then I got to plate the back side of this one too, from here to about 7.5 inches, which is right there. And I'll actually have to bend that plate back to the back side of this. And you guys can see there's a cove, so I'm going to have to notch that back plate too, just so it all lines in there good. Yeah. And I'm going to have to call him about this. I wanted to put one there too, but I think his bump stop sits right there, so I won't be able to put one there. But this one will help for sure. All right, you guys, I got this one side done. Wanted to show you, kind of talk to you guys about this if you're making any like cardboard templates and stuff. So here's what I got. This is my template right here. If you're doing this, it's your first time, do not be frustrated with it. It may take multiple times to do this. You can see I got one right there and one right here. This was my first attempt. I messed up. The better you get your templates out of cardboard, the easier it's going to be to cut and fit this in here correctly. As you can see, I left this long right here and here. It's giving me a tab because it's tucking underneath that metal. Hopefully you guys can see that it's tucking underneath there because this is just slightly higher. This plate is going to probably be 3/16 or quarter. I'm guessing 3/16. So I'll be able to weld right along here. It'll make up that little bit of gap that is there. But the one thing I did want to show you, like you can see this is a little tough to get lined up with just one hand. The main reason that is because I made this template where it's halfway in between each one of the sides. So if I can get it laying back in there right again. Yeah, there. So now you can see I split the difference. This is 3/16 also. So I split the difference there to there. So when I put my plate on here, I'll have a perfect little corner weld that I can do all the way around this thing. Right up in here. You can see there's a little bit of a gap right here. The 3/16 will make up a good portion of that. That's why I left a tab under here. So when I fill this, I'm gonna walk my weld from side to side and I'll fill that little gap, but there's still a tab under there. I'll probably bend that tab up right along this line. Just bend it up just a little bit. So when I weld it, it's in there good. I just don't want to make a little scab to put in there. I think it's going to look funny. So I'm just going to bend that up and it should weld in there just fine. We'll see. I might have to pull this corner up just a little bit with the thickness of the 3/16. I might have to just tweak this just a little bit with my vice grips. You guys seen me do that before on the snowplow video. I'll just pull that up just a little bit so my plate will slide under there when I get this actually made out of 3/16. Yeah, so keep that in mind, you guys. If you're doing this, you're doing cardboard aided design. That's what a lot of us fabricators call this. Don't get frustrated. Sometimes you're going to have to do 2, 3, 4 times to get this fitting just right. The better this is, the easier it's gonna be for me to cut out on my plas and grind and weld back in to here to plate this off. So just keep that in mind, guys. Don't get frustrated. All right, guys, it is Friday morning. I tried to get up early and try to get some of this done. It looks like it's gonna be a gorgeous day. So being gorgeous, it's gonna be hot too. You can see it is blue sky as far as you can see, and it is already warm. It's like, I don't know, it's like 9:30, somewhere in there. 9:55. I did get up. I got a lot of these plates cut for these trusses on these axles. I actually started putting some of them in. I'm just trying to stay out of the heat of the day because I have a feeling it's going to get warm and I don't want to be out here in that crap, grinding and cutting and welding. It's just too hot for me. But I will show you what I got done. So I got this plate cut. I got it put in. I did, like I was telling you guys before, I did have to grind a little bit in the corner of this plate to get that to go under. I did get it to go under. I also said there was gonna be just a little gap there. It filled just fine. There was just a tiny gap there. What else did I have to do? Oh, from like right here on, this actually kind of bent down. You couldn't really see it with the paper. So as I welded this on, when I got to here, I just clamped it, tapped it with my hammer a little bit, then welded it out. It's cooling right now. I still got a little bit of weld left to do. You guys can probably see I welded just a little bit, and I've been jumping around to try to keep this from tweaking. So you can kind of see there's staggered welds all the way through here. I still got this much to do here, and like I told you guys before, when this came in, it was cracked, so I'm gonna V-groove this out and re-weld that there. It should be good because I'm actually gonna weld that first, and then as I'm welding here, I'll weld this right across that weld where it's cracked, so it should tie it in really good. On this side, you guys already saw I had got those on for your check plug and this bowl hole. I got this plate cut out. This one, I just got done with it. It's still warm. It's a little tight. I got to grind it a little bit. It's not quite perfect. I got some radiuses here that I'm dealing with. The kerf of the plas going through it kind of left a little one way or the other. Here's the bottom plate. I got it right there. I got to bend it, obviously, to line up on both sides here and over here. Looks like I got, it's a paper template, so I do have a little bit of a gap right there that I'm gonna have to figure out how to deal with. I might end up cutting the end of this off a little bit to shorten it so it lines up better here, because I got this hole in already. I don't want to mess with it. I still got a few other plates to cut. I still got to do this plate, the little plate here, and then my stringer over the top. That's all sitting over here. I got it all drawn out. I just haven't cut it yet. It's all right there on that. So just all my paper templates, I traced them. They're all on there. So I do got to get those cut out. That'll be the rest of this. Oh, I wish I wouldn't have flipped this over already. Let me see if I can show you guys. Whoa. So if you can see, I got this plate in too. It's just, I got a few little welds on it here and here, and filled these little spots that they didn't weld from the factory. I still got quite a bit of welding back there to do, but I just welded it. It's still just a little bit warm. So I'm trying to let this thing cool down. I'm trying not to tweak this thing at all. I do have some measurements that I took prior to welding it, just to make sure that I'm keeping this thing straight because I'm gonna put a lot of weld into this thing. I mean, every one of these plates is gonna be welded on. It's a lot, especially on this side. That side, not so much, but this one, I'm gonna do a ton of welding on it. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at, you guys. I'll kind of show you as I go. I'm gonna get probably this plate fitting pretty good. I'm gonna get my holes drilled in, probably get it tacked on so I know where everything needs to be off of that. I might have to do a little bit of adjustment here. I don't really like there's a little bit of a gap right there just because of where I cut my hole at. I'm gonna have to work on that a little bit. I might actually grind this off more to get this to fall down over this hole. I might open this hole up so it's over the top of that. We'll see. We'll see what I do when I get there. Yeah, one of them things. All right, you guys, so I got a little ways here. So I got my plate on, I got my holes drilled, I got this tacked into place. I'm gonna tell you right now where this line is. This axle actually drops off just a little bit. So I actually put it in my like a little press from my Harbor Freight thing. If you guys are watching my videos, you've seen it before. I'll show it again. But I did bend this right here. I just bent that flap down just a little bit. I mean, it's not a whole lot, but I did bend it. I got this tacked in a few spots. I got this just sitting here. I'm gonna wiggle this around a little bit. I don't really 100% like where it's laying. But I am working on this piece here. So here's my little bender. Essentially, it's 3 pieces of angle iron welded together. Then this is a milled solid piece. I think it's like probably used to be 1 inch. And literally as I push on this thing, it forms it, starts bending it at a 90. It's awesome. I got this from a buddy at work. His dad passed away. I think you guys kind of heard that before, but yeah, look at that. It put 2 sweet little bends in there. So what that's allowing me to do is get all my pieces to, it's allowing me to get all my pieces to line up. So that one will slide, that piece is going to slide this way a little bit. As you can see, this is kind of following this. I'll do another bend going that way, all the way to that other end. And then I'll weld all this together and this thing will be trussed. It's going to be awesome. All right, everybody. We are back in the shop. It is Sunday morning. I kind of slacked yesterday and the day before. We went and did family stuff and went to friend's barbecue, Offensive Shirt barbecue. I didn't work on anything this weekend so far. I did a little bit on these axles, but not a whole lot. But it is Sunday morning. I got up pretty early, came out here before the kids and wife got up so I could try to get this done. They want to go for a ride somewhere in the mountains, I guess. So I got a little bit of time. I just trying to get up before they get up and try to get this knocked out. I'll show you where I'm at. So I made it this far. I got this bottom plate tacked in, this one in, welded around. I'm kind of just welding a little bit at a time, jumping around. I got it tacked in a few spots here. It's welded out on the bottom, making these new plates. As I kind of put this together, these templates I made, I didn't really like them. They were a little off. So I remade these 2 templates, recut those so they fit a little better. I'm redoing these 2. I actually messed up my template for this side is actually just the bottom piece. I forgot to bring it all the way up to here, so I got to totally redo that piece, which is fine. It's not a big deal. I got these 2 little pieces to build right here to fill this little gap. And there's one more plate right down here that covers this hole. Oh, and I probably need to do one here too. So I do got a little bit of stuff left. This one's going to be kind of interesting because I'm going to have to roll it to fill that little gap. So we'll see how that goes. I'm kind of regretting it now. I kind of wish I would have just made that flush to the bottom there. It would have been way easier. Oh, and I got to finish welding out this back plate too on the back side of that arm. Like I said, I'm just jumping around here. You can see I got like 3 inches of weld, couple inches there. I'm just kind of jumping around trying to make sure this thing's not getting hot. What I'm doing, I'm setting this across here and I'm taking my measurement out on this end. It's about 2 inches. It's 2 inches right on the nose out here on this end. So as I weld, I just keep watching that and make sure that this isn't pulling this way. So that's where all the heat's going to be going. It's going to want to pull this thing up. So I'm just slowly kind of working this thing, welding a little bit, letting it cool all the way down, welding a little bit, letting it cool all the way down. This is probably going to take me a while. Like if you calculated out the hours of just sitting here and what I'm going to do to this thing, weld it, walk away, let it cool all the way down, weld it, walk away. I'm going to have days and days and days into this probably. But I think it's the best way to keep it from twisting this thing up anymore because it's 3/16 and all this is 3/16 plate too, but I just don't want to bend it. I want this thing to be good and stout for them. So I'm going to take my time, and maybe 4 or 5 days is a little excessive, but it is going to take me a while. It'll probably take a full 8-hour shift just to weld this, but it's literally going to be like I come out and weld a little bit and then it has to sit for a while. So it's not a continuous, like if I welded this continuously out, it'd probably take me half an hour, maybe. It's just a matter of trying to keep this thing from moving. With all the weld I'm going to put into this thing, it's going to be a lot of wire. So it's getting there though. It's looking pretty cool. I like it so far. It should be hella stout for him now. All right, everybody. I had to show you this little sliver I had to put in here. This was a little tough. So you can see this actually comes straight up to here. Whew, that's still a little warm. So it left a gap right here. I was planning on filling this with a wedge. It is small. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's actually bent. Let me set you down and flip this for a minute. All right. That sucks, sorry. Trying to get a good view here. These things are super awkward. All right, there we go. Let's try this again. So yeah, there's a little teeny sliver that I had to put in there. That's just a wedge to keep this from like collapsing. It probably would have been all right, but I'm like, shit, I'm welding this thing all the way around just to make sure it's good and stout for him. You can see here is now my back plate. I still got to finish welding some of this. Like I said, I'm jumping around trying to weld this in here. But when I put this piece in, you can see it's just a narrow little sliver, but look at the shape of it that way. It's like, whoop. So I literally started here, I tacked it, then I took my ball peen and just kind of beat on it. I pre-bent this a little bit in my vise just to get this rough shape. Then I tacked it, then I just started beating on it softly with my ball peen, and would tack it. Then I go a little bit more, tack it, go a little bit more, tack it. And I had to twist it this way too. So it's not only goes in this way, but this is actually twisted up just slightly just to get it in there. But it's in there now. You can see there'll be two welds right next to each other. It's going to be really tight because I actually have a corner weld right here and then like a fillet weld right there. It's going to be pretty tight coming into here. So we'll see how this turns out. It may look like two welds just right on top of each other, which will be fine too. It's on the back of the housing. No one will ever see it, but I got a good portion of this welded out. Like I said, I'm still jumping around trying to keep this thing as cool as possible. It's warm right there. Ow. Yeah, I just welded that. Yeah, it's warm right there. So I'm letting that kind of cool down. Everything else is pretty cool. I am staying, like I said, I put my level on here and I've been measuring out to here. It's staying right at 2 inches. So it's actually not warping as bad as I thought it was gonna. Like I said, it's pretty warm right there. I may come back through and try to weld a few of these, maybe a few over here. Just trying to spread this heat around. Trying to pull it different directions. So I was also welding a little bit on the back side and a little bit on this side. So it's kind of pulling itself back and forth if it is moving at all. Right now, I haven't seen any movement in it laterally this way at all. So that's a good sign. It shouldn't be moving this way either. I got a dimension off of here to this hole that I'm gonna keep checking too. I didn't mention that earlier, but yeah, I got a dimension off of here where I put my level here, come off. I can measure to the center of that hole and see if this thing's bending this way. It shouldn't be. It looks like it's staying pretty good. I'm jumping around pretty good and I'm letting this thing cool down. Every time I weld on it, I kind of let it sit for half an hour. So pretty much what I was doing, I was putting a plate on, tacking it in, welding a little bit, and then I'd go over to my Plows over there and I would cut out these pieces. Cut out a few of them, come over, tack them in, weld a little bit. So I had about a half an hour in between each one, so I was giving it cool down time. It seems to be working really good. Nothing seems to be moving so far. I'm either really good or I'm lucky. So we'll keep going on this. I'm going to do a little bit of welding there, a little bit of welding here. I'm guessing the next time you guys see this, I'll probably have this whole thing welded out. I'm going to throw some paint on these areas where I've added metal just to try to keep them from rusting a little bit until he can get them assembled into his truck. He was talking about, we'll see where he's at bill-wise when I'm done with this. But we're talking about doing arms now. Using those, sleeving this with the DOM, plating them, and putting a Heim joint out here, then redoing his brackets on the truck. Yeah, he's dumping some money into this racer this year, and it's paying off, dude. That thing is killing it. Right now he's driving it like a madman and it's holding together, so that's a good thing. Testament to my work, it holds up. So yeah, I'll get this all welded up and show you guys what it looks like, throw some paint on it, all that jazz. All right, you guys, we're getting there. It's taken a while. Like I said, I'm just sitting here letting it cool. It's like, God, it just feels like a waste of time. But I got to. I've been watching this. It did start to move this way just a little bit. It moved about a 1/4 inch that way. So I jumped over on this side and I welded a bunch and I pulled it back. So it did move just a pinch like that, but it, like I said, it did come right back. Thank God. I was watching it. So it's working pretty good so far. You see, I got a little bit of weld there, some right there. I got this whole piece to weld, one right there. But I'm getting closer. I think there's a few on the back side here too. I'm trying to leave the same amount on this side as I do on this side. So if it does start moving at all, I roll this axle and weld, and it seems to be pulling it back, but it is staying for the most part. I just had one spot where I must have welded too much on the one side and it pulled this right here. No, it actually pulled it that way because it went from, I don't know, it moved like maybe 1/8 1/4 inch that way away from the bottom. So like I said, I just put a little more weld on the other side and it pulled it right back. So it's still at 6.5. But yeah, just something to keep in mind, you guys, if you're doing this. I mean, this is a ton of welding on this thing. There's a lot there. And I'm welding it all the way around every freaking seam. It's getting there though. It's looking pretty cool. Hopefully it shows up that cool on the video. It's wicked. We got this side. It's pretty cool. All right, everybody. We got these knocked out. They're done. I just threw some paint on them. They're looking pretty sweet. So here we go. So I got this side. It's all the way welded out. It's all painted. Welds look pretty damn good. I'm pretty happy with a lot of this. I'm not saying everyone's perfect. Nobody can, but they're pretty darn good. This thing is trussed up real good now. Since I added all this, all that. You can still access this bolt. I did open up these holes on my side of the metal. I was just a pinch off, so I just opened them up to the clearance size. They're like drilled at like 410, I think is what they're drilled to. I was just a little bit off in mine, so I used the holes in the actual housing and drilled them from the back side to make sure I open those up. This hole I'm a little worried about. I might have to come back through and grind this out depending on I don't know what the bolts look like. I knew it was going to be close, but looking online, that's what a lot of people do. It looks just like that. So like I said, it's pretty close to my gusset right there. Yeah, so threw a little spray paint on it, just keep it from rusting on him. I got to spray a little down in that hole. I noticed I missed it. But yeah, it looks pretty good. All that. Up underneath here. All this piece. And all up under here. Yeah, we'll let that paint dry. Once it's dry, I'll try to get a light on this so you guys can actually see it a little better. It turned out pretty awesome though. I'm pretty excited about it. Never thought I'd be trussing a Ford Bronco axle, but we have done it now. Mark that one off my list.